everybody. It's my very great pleasure to introduce you today to one of my amazing entrepreneurs that we at Enigma Ventures have invested in. Her name is Sasha. So welcome, Sasha.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Sarah, for having me.
And Sasha and her co-founder, Kelly, have a business called Job Crystal. Sasha, to kick us off, do you want to tell us a little bit about Job Crystal, what Job Crystal does and what your big dreams and aspirations are, the things that you're working on?
Yes, absolutely. So Job Crystal, we do recruitment in a nutshell. And how we do that is we use AI. We created a machine and she's called Crystal. And she pretty much does recruitment for business. Our specific target is SMEs. We believe SMEs don't always have the right recruitment tools available to them at the right price. And that's our mission, to make sure that SMEs are able to recruit with AI, with fast, with speed, while being cost effective, and making sure that they can thrive. And when you hire the right person, you generally do. So that's our plan and that's our mission.
Amazing. Now, of course, AI is an incredible buzzword at the moment, and everyone is talking about AI all of the time, sort of almost everywhere we go. You have been actively building an AI tool for about 18 months, about just over 18 months now. How are you seeing adoption rates for AI tools, and how are you seeing sort of people's attitudes to AI changing as you're engaging with your customers and telling them about the tool that you've built? How are you seeing people's approach change, or is it changing at all?
So it's been 3 years. It just shows you how long we've been doing this for.
3 years? How did that become 3 years?
It's been, it's really interesting. We launched in 2022, and we thought we could build our AI product in 3 months. And as you know, it took 2 years to build it. We launched in 2022, and the adoption rates, people were very wary. They were like, okay, that's nice tool, but do you have a recruitment agency? Was always the question. And then November 2022, when ChatGPT was launched, it did a complete U-turn. People were like, oh my word, AI, yes, let me try it. Okay, I'm going to go try it. It suddenly, ChatGPT opened up the window for us. It made people a lot more receptive to technology, to high tech, to maybe using it, because they realized, ChatGPT, if you can type in, please type me an email, it did what other AIs could do. So adoption rates, literally, I think I should create that graph where it goes straight, and then November 2022, it suddenly does a spike. And it's been a phenomenal rate since, where people aren't so scared about AI, which is, and I went to somebody who always used to say competition's great because it makes the market bigger. And that's exactly what ChatGPT did. Is suddenly it's more accessible to people. People aren't so scared about it. There's always those early adopters, but it's now made it more accessible. It's not as scary anymore to buy online. Now it's not as scary to use AI.
Yeah, agreed. It's almost like it suddenly was like, oh, this is here to stay and this is a real thing. It's not something that we're now talking about is out there someday when. It's now here, and it's like, it's like an upgrade to the internet, and everybody is using it and everybody can see, oh, this could benefit my business in one way or another.
Exactly. And the number of AI tools that come out now, it's almost daily you see new AI tools, and it's finding which ones work for you and how they work for you. But yeah, it's a phenomenal space to be in at the moment.
Are you thinking that AI is always about speed, or are you seeing like the speed to be able to do something, or are you seeing AI with a slightly different lens? How are you thinking about what you're building?
So if you look at AI uses large amounts of data. As humans, we couldn't possibly, for example, we go through 34 million people. We, as a human, couldn't do that. It would take years and years and years, where a machine can do that in minutes. So it is about speed with AI, because AI does take large amounts of data that humans can't process. But at the same time, AI doesn't have the human gut feel, the human touch, the human, your customer service is very difficult using it. Sometimes when you go onto those sites and there's a chatbot, you realize when it's an AI, not a person. So AI hasn't got that human touch, where humans don't have that speed level to process data. So yeah, I think AI will always be a bit of the speed side, to speed up things. But the creativity, the human touch, I think it's always going to be lacking. Be interesting to see what it brings up. It changes currently on a daily basis of what's coming out. And the AI space is interesting for that.
Yeah, agreed. And when we first started talking about building an AI recruitment tool, I remember saying to you, one of the things that I was worried about was discrimination. And this idea, we all know when people are applying for jobs or they're applying for a loan or they're applying for funding for something, discrimination is very real in our world. And when we were thinking about AI in this particular space with recruitment, I remember having a conversation with going, well, how are we going to teach the AI to not be as discriminatory as we are as humans? How do you think AI is doing in that space? How do you think do you think it's helping us? Do you think it's hindering us? What do you think about its impartiality?
So yeah, so AI learns from past. That's, it's big data. It learns from, you can't teach a machine one by one. It learns from history. And unfortunately, history shows white males got a better education, got better experience, top jobs. So AI, when it's learning on past data, learns that automatically. So we added a human touch, we added a human intervention to almost slap her wrist going, no, you can't just do males, you also have to add females. You can't just do young, you have to do old. You can't just do the white, you have to do full color. So we've made sure that we teach her that. And it's quite fascinating when, history shows the males doing, because they had better education, experience, and opportunities where women didn't. When we were training Crystal, we had 25 females in the background training her. But we also became the bias because now we had 25 females training her on male data.
Yes.
So we actually started letting our clients train her. So the clients are diverse in male, female, color, age, race, countries, and they've added the diversity element. I think as long as machine learning, I think that's the important part for me on AI, big data isn't AI. You're using big data with machine learning makes it an AI model. Using just big data and creating an Excel spreadsheet isn't AI. So it's learning, it's teaching the machine on what to learn is so important.
Yeah, I think that's the really interesting thing for us all to remember, right? Is that AI isn't finished. It's like it's this constant evolutionary process of learning. And that's why I think it's so fascinating for us, because it challenges us as human beings with, we have to keep learning too. We can't let the machines outlearn us, and we can't let them learn faster than we can. Because we have to keep feeding help the machine keep learning in the way we want it to keep learning. And I think that's a very real challenge for us as human beings, because innately we like getting stuck what we know. We like
what we know.
Change is hard. That's why shifting some of the stats around diversity and women in the workplace, equal pay, that's why this is all this kind of discriminatory stuff is actually really quite hard. Because we're talking about minorities trying to sort of better themselves and move up into sort of more equal stakes, but also about adopting to a evolving, changing world where the world no longer looks like it did 10, 15, 20 years ago. We have more women in the workplace than we've ever had today, which is a new phenomenon. And so how we keep evolving, how we keep moving forward to making sure that we're creating a better and more equal world is an ongoing challenge for us, and a challenge when we inherently don't like change and want to keep things the same.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So reading obviously all the AI articles and studies that are coming out, and there was AI created for chess. So everybody knows how chess works. And AI started playing against the master players. And actually how the master players took that as a new change is it taught them new moves of what to do when. So there's, you don't have to be stuck on I've played chess for 30 years and I know it backwards. Imagine AI can teach you something different. So it's fascinating to, even in a normal board game, how AI has changed.
That's a fascinating idea that even a grandmaster chess player could learn chess moves from an AI tool.
AI tool, because the AI tool is learning from
it's learning from many grandmasters,
not just one. And do you think as a you're getting coached as a chess player, you get coached by one or two or three. Now you've got this AI who's got this
vast knowledge
of a whole bunch of grandmasters and learning from all those competitions and all those different moves.
Yeah, super exciting. super scary at the same time, which is why we continue to have sort of this love-fear relationship with AI. It's like we're always a little bit scared that it's going to get out of control and outwit us somehow, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had a client recently who said, do we have an AI policy in play? So we've chatted to a whole bunch of clients, created kind of a community on who's doing what policies. And something very clever that we're now going to go and put into our own business, but obviously talk to our clients about, is putting personal information into AI. So when you chat GPT, then let's say I want to respond to Sarah on an email and I don't know how to respond. And I go, take Sarah Dusak and please respond to her about X, Y, and Z. I've now put personal information in there. The bot's going to learn about that. So that's one thing you want to avoid is, rather can you reply to this person who is this type in this tone, rather than putting personal information out. So there's little bits we can definitely learn and put policies in place that will definitely help. The same happened with the dot-com boom, with the fraud, the credit card fraud. You think about the purchases people went through. We're going to go through those learning curves as well.
Yeah. Well, and if you think we've been being scammed with phishing emails for a very long time, so it could become very easy for AI to generate the kind of email that someone would send to you that would sound like someone else coming to you. And that kind of stuff could all be very, very easy. So I think that's really interesting to think about how we continuously safeguard this tool and how we continuously have to think about reining it in whilst also helping it learn in the way we want it to learn.
Yeah, there's something that doesn't need to learn from personal data, that doesn't have to include those. So I think it's the way we teach it and what we teach it with.
Yeah. What are your dreams and desires for your particular AI tool? What are you imagining could be possible for Crystal when she's fully grown and fully blooming?
I don't know if she'll ever be fully grown.
Well, she's going to be continuously learning forever.
She's going to be continuously learning. Yeah, I don't think that'll ever stop. And I think that's the difference with AI and tech. You can create a website and it's done. You can't just create an AI tool and it's done. It's never done. So I think our tool, we foresee it becoming, we call it a verb. You can job Crystal rather than, to go and hire somebody. Because if you can, as an SME, imagine starting out and not having to put a job ad out there on a specific job platform and receive 1,000 applications and have to screen. You don't have the time for that as an SME. Imagine just clicking a button, creating your job description, having it out there, getting 3 to 5 amazing candidates that match your job description and able to hire in 5 days, interview them, still get the gut feel. AI is just going to help you. It's not going to do the full process. And then it's done. So if AI could meet your skills and experience, could even in later stage, we would love to match culture fits and then build that and put it into an app. There's so many other things we want to do with it and make it more easy and accessible. And imagine SMEs manage to hire the right person and not stick in their same network, because that's what SMEs do. Is I hire my friend or I hire somebody I used to work with. And that circle never gets bigger. You never get more different, better ideas because you're always in the same circle. And AI, that's our vision, is to make it bigger, better, faster, and helping SMEs recruit to the point that they can build their business, because businesses get built on people. The better you hire, the more you grow.
Yeah, exactly. And you're operating right now, people can use Crystal if they're in the UK and South Africa?
Yes, so we've just launched in the UK, so that's very exciting. And then South Africa is thriving with the SMEs that are loving it. And it doesn't only stop at the SMEs. A lot of the corporates are using it because those teams are just as much overloaded with so many more job descriptions. But yeah, we've just launched into the UK, so we are very excited to see how that goes.
It's hard to imagine actually that any company in the world doesn't need this tool. I mean, every company could use this tool, right? Wherever you are in the world. I know we're not necessarily quite ready for everyone in the world to be using it. But, theoretically, this could be such a powerful tool for anyone trying to hire anyone just by, and the more advanced the tool becomes, the more capable she will be at finding you the right job.
Yeah, and I think it's because we didn't just section it into one type of candidate. We looked at all different types of candidates. We make the pool quite big. We keep it within your country, but it's it's using AI, like I said, look at 37 million people, let a tool do that for you and let them find you the right batch of people for you to interview, because obviously culture fit's going to be different.
Yeah. So it's super exciting that we're launching country number 2. So we've got Crystal's been learning off data in South Africa, so now she's starting to learn from data in the UK. So that's a super exciting achievement. Tell me how, sort of shifting the sort of tone a little bit from growing Crystal and teaching Crystal, tell me about your own journey as a female entrepreneur in a very male-dominated tech space. Tell me what that journey has been like for you.
So I started as a software programmer. So I think it helped that I'm not just in tech, I actually do tech. I still, back around on my PC at the moment is running some commands. So I understand the tech, and for me that hasn't been difficult because I could talk the talk, which has been a lot easier. The entrepreneurship journey has been a roller coaster. It's amazing. You've got this vision, this idea, and you're going to help the world, and then you get a no, and then something else doesn't go according to plan. I think it's the sense of you've got such a good plan and such good control, and you're so organized, and then something happens that makes you turn left or turn right. And take, for example, the UK. We tried to do this from South Africa and realized we needed somebody on the ground. And it's those kind of lessons. And, you want to learn the lesson today so you can fix it today. And it needs some patience sometimes to figure out how long that journey needs to be. I love it. It's like, I think people who are addicted to roller coasters do love it. And it's amazing for that. But it's been a roller coaster. And I think in the tech world, there's so much competition out there. There's so many good products that are out there. And it's making sure that the product and the marketing fits. When I've got, I'm very strong on tech side. It's learning that marketing side, which sure I've learned some big lessons.
Yeah, roller coaster is such a great word because it's exhilarating and exciting and terrifying, and there's some blind bends all at the same time. I took my youngest son, to Disney World last autumn, and he ended up I'm not a roller coaster person, and he ended up taking me on this ride. We didn't really know what it was. We thought it was a virtual reality ride until we got to the very final moment where the doors open, and then you have to climb into this roller coaster, into the car. And I remember thinking, it's too late now. I've just stood in this line for like an hour and I can't get off. The only way is to go forward. The only way is to get in and actually go on the 3-minute ride, which was horrific. But entrepreneurship can feel a bit like that, right? Too. It's like, I'm on this journey. I wasn't quite expecting it to be like this. I didn't know the ride would be like this. And I want to get off. But now you're on. And it's like the thing's down over your head. And you've got a 3-4 minute ride to get through. And the hard part about being an entrepreneur is you don't quite know how long that scary part in the dark is going to be, and there is no getting off. You just have to hold on and try and enjoy the ride. And my son on that ride was screaming his head off, and he had his arms in the air and was absolutely loving it. And I'm thinking, all right, I'll just close my eyes.
Oh no.
I'll close my eyes and I'll hold on. And I know roller coasters don't last forever. And, neither of those approaches is right or wrong. He probably enjoyed it a whole lot more than I did, and I got through it. But it's that case of, this is the ride, this is the journey, and we can't be surprised when that happens on the journey because it is part of the adventure. And I think often that's what happens for folks who don't last very long, or they give up really quickly because the shocks and the turns and the exhilaration that happens can be a lot. But you either have to just decide, okay, I'm holding on, closing my eyes, and I'm holding on for all I'm worth, or I'm going to sit here and enjoy it and wave my arms and scream and love it and enter into it. And there's probably not much in between those two choices really. But I think, that's that is the journey. That is the challenge of being an entrepreneur.
Exactly. And you get out the other side and you almost, as much as you didn't love it, you're still quite proud of yourself that you did it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and that's what entrepreneurship brings. You know, you started a business, you hired people, you sold a product, you lived the dream of so many people who, you know, you talk to people who want to start a business and then they never
Never made it happen.
never make it happen. But if you have done it, be it you walk out later, earlier, however you've done it, you've at least done it. And that's kind of what roller coasters are like. It just depends on how long you are on the roller coaster for.
Yeah,
I think
exactly. But, you know, usually no roller coaster lasts in the, you know, downward drop backwards. You know, that doesn't last forever. You know, you get some smooth sailing and then something else happens. And then you'll start to do a steady climb up again. And, you know, you can catch your breath and have a look down. And then a big drop will come. And so it's not sort of constant, like,
no, I think it would be boring if it was constant. I know we always wish for constant, but yeah, I think we would get bored if it was constant.
Yeah,
I don't think we would be entrepreneurs then.
No, it has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
You also have a co-founder, a female co-founder. How has been having a co-founder? I think it's always interesting for other entrepreneurs to hear about the journeys of founders on journeys together, and the challenge of being on roller coasters together, because everyone has, you know, the approach. Tell me how that has been for you guys. Obviously, Kelly's not here to share her side. But what have been some of the learnings and the lessons of being on this journey with someone else?
I think, you know, it's great. We both hold businesses before we joined together. So we've both done it on our own, and now we've both done it with someone. And it's almost like that roller coaster you did with your son. One of you is generally putting your hands up going, this is so awesome. And one of you is going, I just want to close my eyes and please let it be finished. Because often you're not on the same wavelength, you know, and sometimes you are together and you're both putting your hands up and this is so cool. And sometimes both of you are holding each other tight and going, oh my word, how do we get through this? I think I would always do it with a partner, having done it both sides. Because, you know, when you're doing it on your own, you've got no one to share the big stuff with. You know, cash flow issues, do we go and get an investment, all the big stuff. You've got no one to bounce. You can't bounce ideas off your employees. So you need someone to bounce it off. But I think it's almost scary because you bounce it off with a partner. What if they say no? You know, what if you go, I want to go do an investment, and they go, I don't want to. And now you're stuck. So we've always been clever enough, and Sarah's been our third now. But when we started, we always had a chairperson who was a third wheel. So if one was yes and one was no, there was somebody else to level it out if we needed it to. It's great and fun, but at the same time, if you're not in the same wavelength, it's very difficult. And you don't always agree. You're two humans, just like when you're as a married couple and you're trying to raise children, you have the same problems. You know, one agrees on how to raise and one doesn't. And entrepreneurship, if you raise a child, you're raising a company, you're raising a dream. And you have different.
It's like being married, isn't it? There's a lot of similarities to being married to somebody.
It is. You know what I mean? It's so funny because the one thing that marriages fight about mostly is finances. The one thing founders fight about is
money and children usually, yeah.
Where do you spend the money and when do we spend the money and when do you get the money? And money is probably the biggest discussion myself and Kelly have, and figuring that out. But with all the ups and turns, and we've had some downs and some very highs and all of that, I would do it all over again with somebody. I wouldn't do it alone because it's so much easier with somebody.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we tend to see that founders who have co-founders tend to do better overall, not just because it's two heads better than one, but because they have the emotional support and resilience to push through the challenging, difficult, muddy scenarios that you inevitably find yourself in. And you've got someone who's in the trenches with you. It's really hard being in the trenches alone.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, solo entrepreneurs can definitely succeed, but having somebody in the trenches with you makes it easier to keep getting up. I know there were numerous occasions on my own journey with feeling like I'm done, I'm over it. I'm ready to get off.
Yeah.
I'd like the roller coaster to stop and I'd like to get off. And Jake would gently say to me, we got this, we can do it. You know, let me help you get back up. Yes, let's carry on. And and someone else sort of helping you navigate your own distress at times is helpful for finding a way through. And also, for me, I know his perception also changed my perception. So I'm a risk taker, but he's an even bigger risk taker than I am. And so, navigating each other's differences and ways of approaching things actually moved me from where I was, and I probably moved him, and we probably made each other both better and healthier and stronger because of, moving each other into a different place. And having to go together is a challenge for all entrepreneurs. But if you can get it right, and if you can do it, it's a magical, powerful force for sure.
It absolutely is. No, Kelly and I are yin and yang. Like, she's really good. I'm really good with clients. She's good with candidates. I'm the risk taker. She's not. So we balance each other out when we need to. And sometimes you're so much, like you say, so much in the detail, and you're like, I want to get off the roller coaster. I can't do this. And she'll be having a great time going, no, everything's fine. Like,
everything's just fine. Yes, exactly. What are you talking about? And then you're like, oh, maybe it isn't as bad as I think it all is.
Exactly. So yeah, no, I definitely do it together. It's so much easier doing it with somebody.
So if you were to give one piece of advice to another entrepreneur listening to this, knowing what you know now, after all the years that you've been on this journey, can be about anything, what advice would you give?
I would say start it as a side hustle. There's so many people who go, but I can't quit my job, but I can't, if you just start it on the sidelines. Kelly and I both worked full-time jobs and did this on the side and built Job Crystal on the side. So starting it as a side hustle is not as scary. And then as it gets momentum and can carry a salary, one salary, half a salary, whatever it is, we actually carried half a salary of Kelly's first, then a full, and then I joined. Start it as a side hustle, because then at least you start. And if the side hustle doesn't work and you find out, then it's great. At least you just tried it. But if you start and it does work, and you can resign from your job and you can run the business, and suddenly you're on the roller coaster and it's exciting and it's awesome and you get what everybody else is talking about, I just say do it and start it. And if you need to start it safely, then start it as a side hustle.
I love that piece of advice, because you're right. So many entrepreneurs find it difficult to think about, how could I possibly start something when I've got my job and my kids and we have a mortgage, and it's really, really hard to think about starting something from scratch. But there are plenty of billion-dollar companies that started as side hustles and started in garages and started as part-time endeavors and suddenly became something enormous. So, and that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah, just start. It's the same thing of, you will always find the time with something that you want to do. I remember doing my degree as a mom, as a business owner, as you find the time. You stop watching Netflix. You get up earlier. It's all possible as a side hustle. You just need to find that 1-2 hours a day, and you can do it if you cut a whole bunch of things that you didn't need into your life.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. All things are possible for those who don't watch Netflix. I love it. All right. How can people, if people would like to be in touch with you and they would like to learn more about Job Crystal, how can they do that?
So Job Crystal, jobcrystal.com, go to the website and you'll be able to get in touch with Crystal, the AI, or one of the team members. Myself, I'm on LinkedIn, Sasha Knott, Knott, and they can get my email, sasha@jobcrystal.com, and we'd love to chat. We love to do partners. We've got an affiliate program. We love to help SMEs, and we love to help candidates find jobs. Actually, in the end, we help our clients make their dreams come true, and same for the candidates.
I love it. All right. So if you need help getting your candidates hired faster, and you would love to explore the possibility of an AI tool, Crystal is ready for you. And if you would love to be in touch with Sasha, you can find her on LinkedIn. That's amazing. All right. Thanks so much for joining us today on this episode of Venture Forward. It's been so fantastic having you here.